Breaking tonight, Canada just reshaped global trade alliances, leaving Washington completely stunned and scrambling for answers. In Ottawa, officials quietly confirmed deals that will determine the balance of power in international commerce for decades to come. Across the Pacific, India and Japan are watching closely. In Europe, leaders are reconsidering their economic strategy. For years, Washington dictated the rules of global trade. But now, Canada is quietly proving that influence is no longer tied to the White House. Instead, Ottawa is orchestrating a web of partnerships that puts middle powers at the center of a rapidly changing global economy. Everyone believed that U.S. tariff threats would keep Canada in line, that Washington's economic leverage would force compliance. Analysts predicted caution, strategists assumed Ottawa would follow the usual path. They were completely wrong. In the last 6 months, Canada has accelerated agreements with India, Japan, and key European nations, designed not only to diversify trade, but to secure long-term sovereignty and influence. These agreements are strategic architecture, not mere diplomacy. They ensure that Canada can shape trade without asking for permission, bypassing Washington entirely. Prime Minister Mark Carney has emphasized that Canada will no longer rely on a single superpower. Instead, Ottawa is building partnerships that guarantee mutual benefit and resilience, even in the face of U.S. pressure. Energy, critical minerals, high technology, and advanced manufacturing are now the core of Canada's negotiations. Each partnership is legally sound but carefully structured to maximize Canadian leverage. Washington's public threats have been rendered irrelevant. Consider the timing. While the U.S. was publicly imposing tariffs and sanctions on nations pursuing independent trade deals, Canada quietly expanded its network. In New Delhi, agreements on uranium, renewable energy, and industrial collaboration were finalized. In Tokyo, Canadian trade officials secured rare earth minerals and AI technology deals. In Berlin, negotiations on critical industrial partnerships and green energy infrastructure are underway. None of this required Washington's approval, and each step strengthens Canada's global standing. Financial markets are noticing. Analysts who anticipated Canadian caution are now forced to reassess. Export projections for Canada show an increase in shipments to Asia, Europe, and the Middle East over the next decade. Washington is beginning to realize that its traditional leverage is losing effectiveness. Ottawa has positioned itself at the center of emerging trade networks, creating partnerships that ensure prosperity without U.S. intervention. The brilliance of Canada's approach is simple but effective. Identify rising middle powers, offer Canadian resources, and formalize long-term agreements that create interdependence outside U.S.-led structures. Nuclear energy, critical minerals, AI research, and renewable infrastructure are leveraged to create strategic alliances that ensure mutual benefit. Unlike the old model, where Washington dictated terms, Ottawa is now setting the agenda. For Americans, this is shocking. The country long seen as the economic compass of the world is being bypassed. Every agreement signed by Canada chips away at perceived U.S. indispensability. Canadian sovereignty is not only preserved, it is strengthened. And the implications are profound. Countries are realizing that aligning with middle powers like Canada offers more security, stability, and reliability than dependence on unpredictable U.S. policies. In practical terms, Canada's actions mean investment in domestic industries on an unprecedented scale. Manufacturing, mining, energy, and technology sectors are all receiving international collaboration and long-term commitments. Indian, European, and Japanese partners understand that cooperation with Canada guarantees secure access to resources and technology without Washington's interference. The result is a network of trade corridors, industrial partnerships, and shared innovation that diminishes American monopoly. The timeline is critical. Last year, Washington applied pressure on Canada to limit independent trade deals. Instead of backing down, Ottawa accelerated negotiations. In Tokyo, rare earth mineral and AI technology deals were signed. In Berlin, energy and industrial collaboration agreements were finalized. In New Delhi, uranium and renewable energy contracts were secured. Each agreement strengthens Canada's network of middle powers, creating interdependence that excludes American oversight. Diplomatically, Canada is gaining prestige. Countries now see Ottawa as a reliable broker capable of balancing complex international interests. The message is clear. Middle powers can cooperate without U.S. mediation. This network is forming faster than anyone anticipated, and Washington is realizing that unilateral coercion is no longer effective. The broader implication is significant. U.S. traditional economic leverage is weakening. Countries like India, Germany, Japan, and smaller European nations are now exploring partnerships independent of Washington. Canada has become the central node in a network that could redefine global trade. By integrating diverse economies, Ottawa ensures stability, predictable growth, and long-term prosperity. For Canadians, this is historic. Strategic partnerships are creating jobs, boosting domestic industries, and securing critical infrastructure. Resource-rich, technologically advanced, and geographically secure, Canada is now an indispensable partner in global commerce. The approach combines diplomacy, economic leverage, and industrial collaboration to protect national sovereignty while shaping the post-American trade order. The strategy also protects Canada from U.S. political volatility. Unlike deals dependent on Washington, these agreements are insulated from sudden policy shifts. Each agreement reinforces another, forming a self-sustaining network of trade and innovation. The result is predictable growth, resilience, and increased Canadian influence. And what happens next? Observers predict U.S. attempts to counteract, but history suggests that threats are losing effectiveness. Countries are no longer waiting for American approval. Canada has proven the blueprint, combined diplomacy, economic leverage, and industrial collaboration to secure long-term prosperity.